Hello dear children, welcome to your channel Computer Science with Meena Dogra. Hope all of you are doing great. Hope all of you are healed and hearty. Well, this is part 2 of the series of videos on methods of string objects of Python, and in this part 2 I'll take up these 7 methods of string object. They are there in front of you on your screens. Istitle, islower, isupper, isalpha, isdigit, isalnum, isspace. Now this is like we are asking something from Python. Fine. So this function is going to actually check all these functions. They're going to check their arguments, and the common thing about all 7 of them is that their return value will be a Boolean value. So these functions will either return true or they will return false depending upon the argument and the nature of the function. Fine. So every function is going to perform a specific task and return a Boolean value to us as output, true or false. I recently uploaded part 1 of this series in which I had covered these 5 methods: capitalize, title, lower, upper, swap case. I hope you have watched this. In case you have not watched it, do watch it before watching part 2. You will get its link in description. Fine. So let's begin with part 2's first function, that is title. Fine. So see what isTitle does. It is going to return true if the string is in title case and false otherwise. So we are going to give an argument string to these functions, to this function, an argument string, and it is going to return true if the string is in title case, fine, and false otherwise. So I had told you about title case in the video, part 1 video, where I told you that if a string has words and each word of a string is starting with a capital letter, so the starting letter of each word of a string, if it is in capitals, fine, it's in uppercase, then it's said to be in title case. Then such a string is said to be in title case. So isTitle function, if you give it a string, it is going to return true if the string that you have provided to it is in title case. It's going to check the string. If the string is in title case, it is going to return true. Otherwise, it is going to return false. So let's check it practically. Fine. So there are various ways of doing the same. Like suppose I make a string and here I put I love Python. Fine. So this string, as you all can see, it's in title case. And if I check on it now, s1 dot, and let me wait, the list of 47 functions is going to open up before me. So I'll be taking this method is title from here. You can type it directly, but I'm just showing you that this is how you will get the list and the function, so that you choose the correctly spelled function. So is title, and let's press enter. You're going to get true. Because the first letter, it checked each word and it found that the starting letter of each word was in capital, like was in uppercase, so it returned true. Fine. I can even like put the string directly over here. Now suppose I give a string I love Python, and you all can see that I have not made the first letter of love, this word, in capital. I've not written it in capital, so I can directly put the string and use the function. I can either give the string literal as an argument to the function, or I can store the string in an object and use that object instead. So here I am getting false because the string is not in title case. Fine. And title case ke liye I even told you certain examples, like if you have even like what is going to be the output of this string, A123. Let's check what s2 dot isTitle has to give me, and I'm sure you must have guessed it by now. It's true because there's only one letter and it is the starting letter. It's not a word, it's just a one letter word, and its starting letter is in uppercase, so the output is true. Now suppose I write something of this sort. I write A, 1, 2, 3, then I write B. So wait, and dot is title. So you all can see we get true because this I explained even while telling you about title function in part 1 that the letters, the words need not be separated just by spaces. The delimiter can be anything, fine. But whenever after a delimiter a letter will check if its first letter is capital, it's going to give you true, fine. So they are just single letter words, and There are two words in the string. Both are beginning with, both these single letter words are beginning with an uppercase letter. So that's why the output is true. And in case you give something in which the title case condition is not getting matched, like in this example, like not all the words, this word was not having the first letter as capital, so the answer was false. Fine, so I hope you've understood about istitle. Let's move to the next function, and it is islower, and there's something interesting about it. I'll tell you. Islower. Fine, so it returns true if all alphabets in a string are lowercase. So it is going to focus on the alphabets in the string, only on the alphabets. Fine, so to ignore everything else. If all the alphabets in the string are in lowercase, the output will be true, otherwise it will be false. So let's check. I repeat, that the alphabets in the string have to be in lowercase. All the alphabets. If there's a single uppercase letter, it's going to give you false. So let's focus on only the alphabets. Let's take up a purely lowercase string. If I write Python dot is lower, fine. You can take it from the list that pops up, or you can type it directly. So the answer is true because all the letters in this string are in lowercase. Fine. Now let's see if I write I love Python. Fine. And I've mentioned everything as in lowercase. So the answer is true. Why? Because in I love Python, fine. See, it is going to check letters that you have used in the string, alphabets that you've used in the string. All the alphabets should be in lowercase. So it is going to return you true. Now what happens, say suppose if I write I as capital, or say suppose I give P as capital. Now I'll get false because A to Z letters that have been used in the string, that they are not in lowercase. Fine. Not every letter is in lowercase. We have a single uppercase letter. That's why the output is false. Now say suppose I write Python 3.9.8. Now what happens in this string? I've taken an alphanumeric string. There are letters A to Z Python. There are digits. There are special symbols. Full stop. There's a space. And what happens when I press enter? See. Sorry, I forgot to use islower with it, so I'll put islower with it. And see, it's true. Why? Because even if the string is having digits or special symbols or spaces, Python is going to ignore all of them, and it is only going to focus on the letters or the alphabets that you've taken. If all the alphabets are falling from, they are in lowercase A to Z, the output will be true. Fine. So this is something different about islower. When you are using islower, place all your focus on the letters. Check each and every letter. If it is in lowercase, the output is going to be true. So suppose now I take up this command again, and now I capitalize P from Python, and I'll get false because A to Z, Y, T, H, O, N are in small case. But from A to Z, capital P is in uppercase. That's why the answer is false. So even if there should be a single letter in the string, अगर एक single letter भी है, and if it is in lower case, the outputs will be true. And if there are multiple letters, then they all have to be in lowercase. Fine. So that brings me to the end of the explanation of islower. Let's move to the next function, which is isupper, the opposite of islower, and it will be very easy for all of you to understand isupper now. So isupper में क्या है? See, it returns true if all alphabets in the string are uppercase alphabets, that is capital A to Z, false otherwise. Fine, so it's just the opposite of islower. Now what Python is going to check, that if there is a single letter, let's say isupper, it's going to return true because this is a single letter and it is in uppercase. And if I give this string to isupper, my output will be false because only P is in capital letters. Y, T, H, O, N are not in capital letters, so the output will be false. Now let me just capitalize all the letters of the string that I'm using. Python I'm giving entirely in uppercase, so my output is coming as true. So even if you are giving digits, spaces, special symbols, they'll all be ignored by isupper. They'll all be ignored by islower. They only check the case of the letters that you've used in this string. And if islower finds all of them to be small a to z, lying in small a to z range, it gives true. And if isupper finds all of them in uppercase, it gives true. So I hope this is clear, and is upper is clear. Let's take one more string for is upper, and suppose I write now I love Python dot is upper. Oh, let me just turn off the cap. I'm sure you all will know the answer is true. It's not considering spaces, these embedded spaces. It's only checking the letters and they are all in capital letters. So the output is true. What about this one? If you give is upper for this, even if you give it in title case, you capitalize the first letter of each word, the output will be false because all the words should have been in capitals for is upper to return true. Fine, so this is about is upper. Let's check the next function, children, and that is alpha. Now this is another interesting function, is alpha. Alpha over here means alphabets. ठीक है ना? So alphabets, and alphabets comprise, because they're not lower upper, alphabets comprise of both capital and small a to z, lowercase a to z, uppercase a to z. Both are will be falling into this category, alphabets. So this function returns true if all characters, now emphasize, see, all characters, if the string is purely alphabetic, no space, no special symbol, nothing, no digit, nothing knowing, only all characters in the string are alphabets, then it gives true, otherwise it gives false. Fine, let's check it practically. So if I use this string, suppose this string, so I give like is alpha, it's going to give me false. Why? Because no doubt we have used all alphabets, like all the words are alphabetic, there's no alphanumeric words, but then we have these spaces. Fine, these spaces. So these spaces are not alphabets. That's why is alpha is returning true. Now is alpha demands that all the the entire content of the string should be framed from A to Z small case or A to Z uppercase. So now if I remove these spaces, now you check, all these are alphabets, the string is having only alphabets. Fine, and if I press I'll rewrite the string, children. I remove these spaces, and now I type, and now I press enter, I get true. Fine, so I get true because now my string is having all the entire content of the string is from A to Z, framed from A to Z, framed using A to Z rather, and uppercase, lowercase, both are being accepted by is alpha as alphabets. There's no discrimination on the base of cases, on the base of case. Both are treated alike, but the condition is that the string should be purely made up of this thing, alphabets A to Z. Now suppose I write Python and I write 3.9.8 dot is alpha. You all know the answer would be false because I am using digits and special symbols in the string. Fine. On the other hand, if I had given only Python and pressed enter, my output would have been true. And in lowercase as well, and in uppercase as well, or a mix of them as well, is alpha does not discriminate on the basis of case. It accepts everything. If you are giving letters to it, it returns true, and if you are using anything apart from letters in your string, even a space, it's going to give you false. Fine. So this is Python in all caps is alpha is true. Python in all small case, in all lowercase is alpha is true. Python in title case, or we can say अभी तो एक ही word है तो capitalized है, so is alpha is true. With digits it's false, with spaces it is false. Fine, so this is alpha. Next, let's move to the next method, which is digit. And is digit, it's going to return true if all characters in the string are digits. I again emphasize, it's now going to, your string has to be purely in the form of digits, false otherwise. So is alpha ने क्या किया था, that if you were using only letters A to Z small case or A to Z lowercase, it was returning true. Is digit is going to return true if if you are framing a string which is comprising only of So suppose I write 1 2 3 4 point dot is digit. So the output will be true because 1 2 3 4, the string that you have taken, that you've given to is digit, is comprised of all digits. Fine. Suppose you write 3.9.8, and now you use is digit. What's going to happen? Let's check. The output is false because apart from digits you have used the decimal point also, the dot also, so that is not going to be accepted by isdigit as a digit. It only gives true, only and only gives true if you are using pure digits in your string. Fine. Even if you give a space, like you give like this 1 space 2 space 3, and then you check isdigit, so the output will be false because spaces hain, is wajah se the output is coming out to be false. So that means your string has to be made up of only and only digits. Let's check. If you write A123 and you press is digit, you write is digit. So this is going to give you false because 1 2 3 se pehle you've written small letter a, so that is not going to be accepted. The string that you were giving to is digit should be comprised of 0 to 9 digits only and only then the output will be true, otherwise it will be false. Fine. So I hope you understood this. Let's move to the next one, which is a combination of is alpha and is digit. So here this al is for checking alphabets and this num is for checking digits, this num. So it's alphanumeric. Fine. And if your data is alphanumeric, that means it is made up of, it returns true if all characters in the string are alphanumeric, like either they are small a to z or capital A to z or 0 to 9 or a mix of them, then the output will be true, otherwise it will be false. So let's check isalnum. Again, I'm telling you it's a combination of this thing is alpha and is digit. So इस वाले command को अगर आप देखते हो और इसके साथ is alnum देते हो, let's check it individually first. Fine. So is alnum, this is going to have true because 1 2 3 4 are numbers also. So या तो it should be alphabets or it should be numbers or it should be a mix of them. And when you are using alphabets, they can be like cases will not matter. They can be in lowercase or they can be in uppercase. Fine. So agar now suppose I give A B C D a pure lowercase string, and I check it's is alnum. So again I'll get true because these are alphabets. Fine. And now suppose I write capital A B C D. I'm using only pure uppercase letters, and let's check the isalnum's output will be true again because these are it's isalnum, either alphabets or digits or a combination of both. Now I mix them up. See, I write ABCD, then I write ABCD, and then I write 1 2 3 4. I've mixed up all of them, like I'm using a mixed up category. I could have mixed up lower with digits or upper with digits. Here I've mixed up lower upper digits all together. And now I check is alnum. So I'll get the output as true because my string is comprising only of alphabets and digits, and there's nothing apart from them. Now see what happens if I introduce a space over here. Fine, I introduce a space over here. My output will be false. Why? Because the spaces are not considered as alphabets or digits by isAlnum. So here I'll be getting false as the output. So that means I hope you've understood either the string should be comprised of lowercase a to z or uppercase a to z or 0 to 9 digits or a mix of any of these but purely alphabets and digits. Fine, then isAlnum is going to return true, otherwise false, and it's a combination of isalpha and isdigit. Fine. So let's move to the last function for today's video, part 2 video, which is isspace. And as the name itself is suggesting that isspace will return true if all characters in the string are white spaces, false otherwise. Now white spaces में आप स्पेस ले सकते हो, आप स्ट्रिंग में वाइट स्पेसेस जो हैं आपके स्पेसेस, टैब्स, न्यू लाइन कैरेक्टर्स कुछ भी हो सकते हैं. सो सिंगल लाइन स्ट्रिंग में तो कैसे यूज करते हैं इसको अब हम देखते हैं. और let me just take you to this function, and here what I'll do, I'll make a blank string. See, I've put a quote and I've used this press space bar once. I may even press it twice, thrice, any times, and now I check is space. So is space is going to return true if the string that you are giving to it is purely comprising of spaces. ठीक है ना. So all these letters are space. It should not be a blank string. See, if you give a blank string to it, what happens? It's a zero length string. So it has like, sorry, I have misspelled it. Just wait. Fine, false, because zero length string is a zero length string. Fine, there's not nothing inside it, not even a single character. So its space is going to be false. Is space कब true होगा? You press tab over here and you check is space for this string, and it's going to give you true. Fine. And suppose now you write like this. You write A space B. Space C, space D, and you give a space before A as well, you give a space after D as well, you close the quotes and then you use is space. This is going to give false because embedded spaces are not considered by ispace. Ispace says कि बीच वाली space or the preceding or the trailing spaces do not matter to me. What matters to me is that I am comprised of just plain white spaces. Then I'm going to give you true, otherwise I'll give you false. So ispace ka argument, the argument to ispace should be a string that should be comprised only of white spaces. Fine. So I hope this is clear, and if this is clear, this was the last function for this video. And now after having done these 7 functions, is title, is lower, is upper, is alpha, is digit, is alnum, and is space, I would like all of you to attempt these questions and just let me know in the comment section their answers. I love my country.istitle, Python 3.9.8 dot is lower, Python 3.9.8 dot is upper, Python dot is alpha, Python 3.9.8 dot is alnum, 3.9.8 dot is digit, and then these are spaces dot is space. Another thing, that if you are using these functions in script mode, you must either assign the result to a variable or use them with print, because all of them have a return value which is a boolean value. Fine. So do let me know in the comment section the answer to all of these. And another thing, children, part 1 ke baad bhi I had given a quiz and I have not got any answers as yet. So that means you're not watching the video till the end, or maybe you're just simply ignoring it. See, attempting the questions right after listening to the concept, it only strengthens the concept. Fine. So do consider it, and I'll wait for your answers. I'll wait for your feedback. I'll wait for your comments. I'll wait for your likes, and because that motivates me, and you'll have to be generous with me this time in terms of commenting and in terms of liking the video. Fine. So do subscribe to the channel in case you have not subscribed already. Until we meet again, bacha, happy learning. Take care. God bless you. Bye bye.